Hey YouTube, I have been away from the camera for a little while. A lot has happened since the last video that I posted, and I have honestly just been trying to take care of myself the best that I can, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And for the time being, I just have not been in front of the camera. That said, I wanted to get on here tonight and talk about a couple of experiences that I have had going back prior to 2022 specifically. So let's get off and start by saying, YouTube, this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. So, what happened? This happened during the early part of July of 2022, and I went to bed here in my bedroom in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I went to sleep, and then I came to in the astral realms, in the spiritual realm, and this environment that I was in had more of a bluish hue to it. There was a gentleman that was diagonal to me who was speaking to me, and I believe that this person to this day is a human being, Caucasian man. They could be, a different ET housing one of these bodies, but I think it was a human being. And the space that I was in reminded me of, at first I thought, a prison for whatever the reason. And the reason I thought that was because in front of me there was this metal fencing, and it was going up really high, and placed on top of the fencing was this metal rigid roof, where if any of the people on the inside attempted climbing the wall, the fencing, and then going down, the metal roof would scrape up their back and they'd be bleeding. So based off of how the structure looked, it immediately made me think that whoever is running this place wants to keep those that are kept inside in. They do not want them to escape. So I had that thought, and then there was a little conversation that went back and forth between me and this other man. I don't recall what was said, but there was something shared. And then there was a building next to us that was dark, grayish black color. And then there was a explosion that went off, and it sounded like a bomb. And I then started hearing all of this hop 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 hop, and these footsteps just of, I was gonna say men, but I don't fully know if they were men or not, beings marching. And it sounded as if these beings were preparing for war or some type of battle. I just knew it was about to go down. Still not fully comprehending where I am, why there's some battle going on, who is the battle with, who are the ones preparing for battle, and who are they battling against, what is it all about? And when these thoughts started coming to my mind, I just started hearing more weapons being fired, and I looked off to another direction, and something happened. To this day I don't fully recall what happened, because the next thing that I consciously remember was being on the ground and essentially experiencing sleep paralysis with my astral body. My mind is awake, but my body's asleep. I could not move my astral body at all. But I came to at some point, and I realized that I'm on the ground, I'm still hearing all this hop, 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 and this marching, and weapons being fired, and explosions going off, and a bunch of voices of people chattering and talking and panicking because something is going on. Something is going down. What? Again, I don't fully have that answer. But that's what I was coming to in this space. And I'm lying on the ground and I'm just thinking, what the heck is going on? Where am I? And for whatever the reason, the first two thoughts that came to me after that were fear that I was going to be sold into slavery, or I was going to be sold for sex. Why? I couldn't tell you, but those were the thoughts that entered my mind. All of a sudden, I keep hearing these voices that are, let's say the door to this room that I am in underground is about 20 steps that way. And I keep hearing these voices coming closer, 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 closer. And the only thing I can do in this moment is watch, whatever is going on in front of me. And there was a wall in front of me, this space, and it was dark colored. And all of a sudden, this person is walking, and I'm just feeling fear, afraid of whoever is coming my way. And then all of a sudden, this person right here, and all I can do is look, and I made eye contact with them. And then there's a moment where something else happened, but the next thing that happened to me was this huge blast of energy in the right side of my head. And I remember being in my bed, because I felt this in this space between the astrals and here. And then all of a sudden I'm coming to, and I realize I'm on my back, and I'm the type of guy that sleeps on his side, on his stomach. I have to be extremely exhausted to be on my back, and even then I'm turned over a little bit. I'm just the type that, based off of how I have slept my whole life, it is more challenging for me to go to sleep in that way. But what I realized, so I went to bed, like this, or on my stomach, and once that happened and I started coming to, it was like somebody, when you're trying to take a picture and it's really blurry and it takes a second to become clear, the image to come clear. So at first it was a little fuzzy, and then it's coming a little clearer, and I'm realizing I'm in my bedroom, and I'm like, okay, I'm on my back. That's weird. Why am I on my back? I'm sleeping literally like straight, arms by my side, feet straight out, like a pencil. I mean, pencil going down like this. So I'm just wondering why that is. And then I'm wondering, why am I looking up instead of to the side where I would have been looking every other night that I had fallen asleep? Why am I looking up? Why am I staring at my fan, my ceiling fan, which is right here? Okay, I see my fan. I see the little blades of my fan. I see the lights, which were off. Okay, catching my breath. There are two eyes looking at me. Okay. There are two eyes looking at me, and then it hit that there is this being in my bedroom looking down at me. And I immediately went into fight or flight. My body chose flight, and I started hyperventilating. This is the first time that I can remember hyperventilating. I have felt fear before. There's been a couple times where maybe I can't catch my breath, but I am still able to produce words and produce sound. The only thing that was going on was and I couldn't catch my breath. I was scared, to say the least. And it was also the fact that this being, which was in this goldish hue, had two eyes, did not have ears, didn't have a nose, I don't believe they had a mouth, but it was just this huge energy. And I'm in this isn't a queen size bed, a little smaller than a queen, but not a twin. And it was taking up the space. It was wider than the width of my bed. And it was so big that it was reaching my ceiling, and it was looking down at me, which just added more fear, like, whoa, this being is huge. And it was just staring at me. And as I like to sleep like a cocoon, especially when I'm cold, I'll put blanket on top of blanket on top of blanket on top of blanket. because I want to be comfortable, you know? And I wrapped myself up that night, and I just was trying to struggle to get my left arm out to reach for my nightlight so I could turn it on. That's the only thing that was running through my body, is turn on the light. I didn't even have, let's say, the thought, turn on the light. My body just reacted. It just, and I'm struggling to get out. And within the time before I turned on the light, this being then said to me, "Hi, Ryan. I'm John." Now, the interesting thing is that, as I said, this being did not have a mouth. It communicated telepathically. And that's the first time that I can recall being in this body, I'll say in my adult life, that I have experienced a telepathic conversation. And again, it was in the right side of my head where all of this junk DNA lives. So this being sent out the message, "Hi, Ryan," and I felt it pulse, "Hi, Ryan," and it was all right here. And then, and the energy condensed of the words "Hi, Ryan." Let's say it got smaller. Take the image of somebody going down one of those really steep super slides. It's at an amusement park or water park where you're just, like this in the tube. I didn't do that. That was too much for me. But going down like this, right? And that's what the energy did. The words "Hi, Ryan" then condensed down and shot down from the right side of my head all the way down to my fingertips and my toes. I just felt that energy from here down to my fingertips and my toes. "I'm John." And that's what happened. And this being is just, standing, floating, staring at me, not attempting to do anything to further put me in a place of more fear. And that happened. I was just like, what is going on? And then I ended up reaching my nightlight and turned it on. And John was there, turned on the light. The light clearly did something, and I could not see John anymore. Turned off the light, and John wasn't there anymore. I then, started to calm myself down by taking some deep breaths and turned on the light, turned it off a few more times just to see if this being was going to still be in front of me and appear. But they were gone. Now what happened next was, after I calmed myself down, not fully, but brought myself to more of a place of calm with some deep rest within the time span of less than a minute. I wasn't fully calm, but changed where I was. Something inside of me opened up, and it was as if someone took a vacuum and sucked out every little last feeling I had of fear, hate, indifference, confusion, contempt, sadness, anger, laziness, greed, joy, everything, were the only thing that was vibrating through my entire body, from my head to my toes, touching every cell in my body, was love. At the time when I did believe in heaven and hell, don't anymore, I really thought that my spirit was going to come out of my body, and I was being lifted up and was going to go off and up into the clouds. And the only thing running through my head was that I didn't get to say goodbye to my mom. And I just then I felt overwhelmed by this feeling of love, and with this love then came peace that I just have not ever experienced before. And I got emotional because of it. I felt connected at the same time to everything that's here in the physical. I'm gonna add now that I feel I was connected to everything with the soul, but at the same time, I am everything, everything is me. And that was the first time I felt in my body here, really grasping that and being able to hold that truth. So, yeah, I do want to reiterate, I did not get lifted up into the clouds and my spirit wasn't coming out of my body, but that is what this love felt like. It was so heightened. It was cosmic. So that was the experience I had sometime early July during the summer of 2022. It may have been the very end of June, but I think it was July, and I'll explain in one of the other videos why I think that is. But that was my experience of what happened. Closing thoughts, where was I? I do believe I was in some underground base. I'm going to say military base. I believe the beings that were preparing for war, that some were ETs, specifically reptilians. I don't know which specific kind, but I believe they were reptilian. And then other people, the face that I saw was somebody of the shadow government, and then the other beings that were talking were of the government as well, that knows this information and what's going on. And whichever one of my multidimensional bodies that was there and then I think was trying to escape and get back to this body, that's at least what I feel is a part of what went down, and what happened, and why there was this friction and all this war, maybe not war, but sounds of preparing for war going on. And I believe whatever that energy was that I experienced there with that multidimensional body had an effect as to why I felt that feeling of love, heightened love, where that was the only thing vibrating through my entire body, head to toes, fingertips, belly, my neck, my earlobes. When I say every inch of my body and every cell of my body, every inch of my body and every cell of my body. And I felt connectedness, I felt peace, everything made sense in me being connected with the world and all of the beings, the plants, the animals, other living beings that are in these temporary human vehicles, or divine nine ether being God vehicles, whatever you want to call them. It just made sense. And I have not felt that type of connectedness in this physical before. And I have yet to experience it again. I do believe I'm going to, especially by the end of this year, since I believe this shift of this ancient being returning into the Anunnaki goddesses and gods will happen by the end of December. I don't know how we're going to get there, but I do believe that's what's going to take place by the end of December. And it's definitely been this feeling that I felt has given me in moments of difficulty. It's been a reminder that I know I'm going to be able to feel that again, and I'm going to be able to share it with as many souls as possible. And they're going to be able to experience it, whether they tap into it themselves or I tap into it and I'm able to share it with those I am around. I'm just looking forward to it because it's a feeling. If I could give away all the money I have in my bank account for every single soul to experience that, I would. I absolutely would. Even for those that do not have a soul. But yeah, that was the experience I had with John, with this light being who, at first I thought was a light being. I'm going to make a part 2 to this video and get into more of my thoughts on this experience, just because this video is getting to be a little long, but that's okay. yeah, and I really wanted to get on here. I felt compelled with how I was feeling today to film another video, and I wanted to share this one. So, to anybody who comes across this video who is feeling, the challenges that this matrix may be presenting to them, or going through some hardship, I just want to remind you that freedom is coming. And that feeling of love, you are absolutely going to be able to experience at some point. I'm thinking by the end of December, but if not, most definitely some point in 2025, early on in 2025. And I just want to close this video out. If you've made it this far in the video to watching, thank you for watching and choosing to just view these videos on this channel. And I want to send peace, courage, protection, and divine cosmic love to every single 9 ether being, Anunnaki goddess and god who is on their journey of remembering their divinity and remembering who they are. Peace. Thank you for watching.